I was in local news for about 15 years here in the Tulsa area, and I get asked a lot what I think about news today. Do I think it's changed since when I was in it? Well, I definitely see a lot of changes in news, but I've been reluctant to talk about it. That is until now. It seems like the burning question that I get asked is the news more biased today than it was when I was in news? And if you ask that question, you probably already know the answer. And the answer, of course, is like every other answer these days. It depends on who you ask. If you're a conservative, chances are you believe the news is biased. If you're a liberal, you probably believe that the news is not biased. And that in itself should tell you there's a problem. One of my best news directors told me that if you're ticking everyone off, you're doing your job. If one side is happier with you than the other side, you're probably not doing your job. So if one side is happy and satisfied with what they see in the media, then the media is probably not doing their job. There's one surefire way that you can tell if a story is biased, and that is to flip the switch, turn the tables, put somebody else's name in the storyline. So if the story is about Joe Biden, then put Donald Trump in the story, and would it read the same? Or if the story is about Donald Trump or Donald Trump's family, put Joe Biden in the story. Would it read the same? If the answer is no, then you have bias. And the same is true with the decision to tell a story. I'll never forget one time we were talking about whether or not to do a story about a local quasi celebrity, somebody who was pretty well known in the community, had gotten into some trouble with the law. It was a minor infraction. So the news director asked, if this person were not a local celebrity, would we even be talking about this story? And the answer was no. So he nixed the story. I don't know that that happens today. Remember the debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump when Donald Trump said that maybe he would not accept the results of the election? Well, Hillary Clinton was apoplectic. Remember?
Okay. So that is not the way our democracy works. We've been around for 240 years. We've had free and fair elections. We've accepted the outcomes when we may not have liked them. And that is what must be expected of anyone standing on a debate stage during a general election.
And the media was equally incensed. For weeks, they were incensed about that statement. And then just weeks ago, Hillary Clinton suggested that under no circumstances should Joe Biden accept a Donald Trump win.
Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances because I think this is going to drag out, and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give a hint.
Where was the outrage? Well, there was no outrage from the media after that. And remember at the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, when everyone was so concerned about his mental stability and his capacity to act as president, they wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment. I mean, even now, they're talking about the possibility of Donald Trump having a series of mini strokes, but no one is concerned when Joe Biden can't finish his sentence or remember who his wife is or remember where he is. I'm not making light of the man. I think it's sad what we're seeing with him. What I'm pointing out is that if these same things were happening with Donald Trump, it would be a national emergency.
I got hairy legs that turned blonde in the sun. And the kid used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight and then watch the hair come back up again. They look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I love kids jumping on my lap.
I do see selective outrage, selective concern, selective compassion, and selective critique. So, yes, I do believe that there is bias in today's media, but only because there's bias in today's world. Think about social media. We gravitate toward the people who think and speak and believe like us. We block out the people who argue with us or who disagree with us. And we probably do the same thing with news. We gravitate toward the station that offends us the least, the station that comes to the conclusions that make us most comfortable. I mean, who's going to turn on a news station that just ticks you off and ruins your day? Nope. You go to the news station that you cheer along with, that you believe. But that is not really journalism. Journalism should present all of the facts with equal veracity and passion, and have us scratching our heads at the end and thinking, that's a tough one. But when was the last time you saw a story like that? It's been a while for me. And as long as we keep gravitating toward biased news sources, the news is going to be biased. A wise counselor once told me the only way to stop the game is to stop playing. Think about that. The only way to stop bias in the media is to stop buying and demanding bias in the media. So what can you do? There are ways that you can spot bias in stories, and I have some tips and tricks on my website, tammymarler.com, if you're interested in going through stories with a little different perspective. Because once you have an eye for bias, you can't miss it. And then once you detect it, it's up to you to do something about it. Call them out on it. Send them an email. Demand balance. Demand all of the facts, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you feel, no matter how it goes against your own ideology and beliefs. We deserve to know the whole story, all of the facts, unfiltered, without opinion, because we're smart enough to come to our own conclusions. If you still care enough to ask if there's bias in today's media, then you still care enough to do something about it. And it is up to us to restore journalism to its former greatness. I'm Tammy Marler, and that's the way I see it.